might be one of the greatest achievements of his second administration, and I speak of trying to fix the f***ed up state of college sports. Something needs to be done to restore some degree of sanity in college sports, and Donald Trump, recognizing that, I don't think that any of us are real keen on seeing college athletes play for 4 different schools in 4 years. Nick Saban is going to co-chair this federal commission.
And now a man who some call the Roy Hobbs of wiffle ball. It's Ricky Cobb.
Donald Trump trying to solve a problem that I didn't really consider when I cast my ballot last November, but one of the issues, if he can do something about it, it might be one of the greatest achievements of his second administration. And I speak of trying to fix the f***ed up state of college sports in this country. We have talked about it many times. NIL is the Wild West right now. We went from the players being told, hey, you're just students, be happy getting an education. And we saw that the institutions line their pockets. We saw the coaches and athletic directors line their pockets. And now the pendulum has swung all the way in the direction of the players seemingly having all the power. We've got guys that are transferring year to year. They're essentially free agents, hired guns, if you will. And I think that everyone is hip to the fact that something needs to be done to restore some degree of sanity in college sports. And Donald Trump, recognizing that, talking about creating a commission to study the issue. And if you need to know whether or not this commission is going to have credibility, my friends, let me just tell you, Nick Saban is going to co-chair this federal commission. OutKick's own Trey Wallace reporting that sources are telling OutKick that Nick Saban will be co-chair of this commission, will help oversee the committee, and Donald Trump will obviously play a role as well in this. The co-chair, co-commissioner will be Texas billionaire Cody Campbell, who founded Texas Tech's NIL Collective. So we've got some people who understand how the system is working right now, and perhaps more importantly, understand how it is not working well right now. And maybe this will be the first domino in college sports starting to make sense again, because when you've got guys who are going into the transfer portal, the transfer urinal, as Tom Izzo famously called it, while their teams are still playing games, that's just one of many, many issues. And I don't think that any of us are real keen on seeing college athletes play for 4 different schools in 4 years. Or God forbid, 5 different schools in 5 years if a 5th year of eligibility becomes a thing. But it got me thinking, maybe commissions could be created in various other places in the modern sports landscape that could use a little bit of scrutiny and a little bit of brainstorming. And so I have a few suggestions. The NBA, 3-pointers are out of hand. Newsflash. Who would be the right person to come in and oversee trying to figure out where the NBA got out of calibration? And I'm going to nominate Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Yeah, that's right. Michael Jordan, the greatest scorer that the game has ever seen. He won the scoring title 10 years in a row. That's not counting the 2 years that he took off, but 10 years in a row. Michael Jordan led the NBA in scoring in 1988 with 35 a game. And yeah, that's impressive. But James Harden led the NBA in scoring with a higher average than that, unless I'm mistaken. But the difference between James Harden and Michael Jordan is that James Harden was not familiar with the concept of defense. Not only was Michael Jordan familiar with it, he was the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year. Think about that. The guy was the best scorer in the league. He was the best defensive player in the league, and he's the only player who's ever done it. Somebody asked me one time, what was Jordan better at than LeBron James? I said offense and defense. It's not much more to add to that. But then again, Kenny Rogers could roast some people as well. Take a look at this. When Jordan retired, he admitted the only guy in the league that he couldn't stop was Kenny Rogers, going right to the lane. It was always a gamble when you tried to D up Kenny Rogers. But Michael Jordan never averaged more than 3.5 3-pointers attempted per game. In fact, 7 years in a row, Michael Jordan led the league in 2-pointers made per game. Remember when 2-pointers were a fucking thing? Do you recall that era? I can remember it. He also led the NBA in scoring all 7 of those years. You might remember Wilt Chamberlain was a pretty good scorer too, back when the league didn't have a 3-point line. Everything is fucked up now. We'll talk about it later in the show. The Celtics, obviously, 0-2 against the Knicks now. They've attempted 100 3-pointers in the first 2 games. How did that work out for you, Boston? What else can we fix? Let's see. I wouldn't mind fixing starting pitching in Major League Baseball. That could use a look. Who would be the right man to come in and be the czar of addressing that issue? I'm going to nominate Nolan Ryan, who in 1974 went out and threw 235 pitches while walking 10 and striking out 19 in 13 innings. It wasn't a complete game, by the way. He was immediately scheduled for season-ending elbow surgery, unfortunately. No, hang on. Being told he actually made his next start on 3 days rest and won. 235 pitches is 3 starts now in Major League Baseball. Nolan Ryan, can you imagine an era where we got cheated out of Nolan Ryan? We'll never know. Paul Skeens had a no-hitter going last year. They pulled him before he was at 90 pitches. All the fucking fun's been taken out of everything because safety first. It's like McGruff is the pitching coach for all of these teams. Look both ways. Be careful. Avoid strangers. What are we doing here? I had Fergie Jenkins on the program last month in Wrigleyville, a guy who routinely completed 25 plus starts per year. I reached over and I grabbed Fergie by that famous right arm of his, and I said, well, it seems to still be intact, Fergie. How is that possible? I've been led to believe that if you do such a thing, there's going to be an amputation coming up. You're going to be like Def Leppard's drummer, Ronnie T-shirts. I'm just checking to see if Ron is awake in Nashville, Tennessee.
Here.
There he is. We'll get to you soon, Ron. Ronnie's in the bullpen waiting right now for me. But we got Brett Saberhagen on the program today as well. I'm sure he'll have some thoughts on that topic. I will pick his brain. And then as far as the NFL goes, we got to do something about this goddamn dynamic kickoff, which is anything but. We want to talk about things that have been mislabeled. What is dynamic about that play? I guess it's more dynamic than watching yet another touchback sail out of the end zone, but we still see that all the time as well. I'm going to nominate Morton Anderson to be my czar of special teams in the NFL. And I would think that Morton Anderson's first move would be to get rid of the dynamic kickoff and bring back the regular old goddamn kickoff. It's a concussion risk, they say. Well, you know what? Life is a concussion risk. You walk out of the house, you can get concussed any day. And by the way, there is nobody playing special teams in the NFL that isn't aware that they're going to get their bell rung. It's voluntary. We're not rounding up people off the street and sending them to be on special teams units, are we? And by the way, the first dramatic decline in concussions in the NFL came when they finally banned kickoff coverage teams from just gunning luxury sedans down the field. Look at that one there on the far right. Is that what De Niro was driving in Goodfellas? 100% chance that there is a dead Italian in the trunk of that car. And I believe that's Efren Herrera there. Great. I think that we should go back to the 70s and 80s as well. I'm going to be the co-chair of the kicking committee, and I'm going to suggest that every other kicker either be out of shape, bald, or unable to speak English. Because it was always at least one of those three when I was a kid. You just throw some fat guy out there and pray that he could kick a 39-yarder. Those guys were sweating bullets in the 70s from 39 yards. Now we got guys out there just routinely busting 60-yarders through, but we've forgotten how to handle kickoffs in the league because somebody might get hurt. Yeah, guess what? Somebody might get hurt. It's like UFC having some sort of concussion study. Dana White said, what can we do to reduce concussions in UFC? You know what you can do to reduce concussions in UFC? Be better at fighting. Because concussions are a part of it. You're in the hurt business if you're in the NFL. And yes, I am sympathetic for CTE. I do think that safety is important. But you can't just make it touch football. Or can you? Because some would argue that we might be getting close to that in the not distant future. It's going to be in the Olympics, for God's sakes. That's going to be interesting to watch. What do you drive, my friends? What kind of car do you drive? I look around the roads today and I see cars that have greater technology than ever. I see cars that can do things that the cars of my youth would absolutely be incapable of, such as getting more than 7 miles per gallon. But man, we have lost the art form of auto manufacturing in this country. I always get a little excited when I see a 40 or 50-year-old car out there still doing work on America's highways, getting the goddamn job done. Take a look at this one, for instance. Long may you run, you sweet bastard. And bonus points if your 8-track player still works. Puts a little hop in my step when I see somebody out there driving one of those. I believe that is the... Tim was asking me what that is. Is that a Buick LeSabre? Is it an Oldsmobile Delta 88? I couldn't tell you. I think that might be
a lot of debate. A lot of debate with your audience.
Do we know? I don't fucking know. My audience is debating. I think that might be the 1975 Buick Kojak Suspect right there. I like the cop shows in the 70s. They were always chasing down guys who were driving cars that looked exactly like that.
Big ass white walls.
Let me now bring in the international streaming star who is apparently, I'm being told, Tim is telling me that he's heated up and ready. He's been warming up in the bullpen down in Nashville, Tennessee. He is, of course, Ronnie T-shirts. Ronnie, what do you think about this Trump commission with Nick Saban? We have discussed all of the problems with this era of college athletics where we're going through a bumpy transition from players having no say to players basically swinging a sledgehammer right now at the moment. Do you think that this is going to possibly be the moment where we start to rein it in a little bit? All right. Well,
hold on. I can lip sync. Ronnie, keep talking. I'll lip sync. Go ahead, Ronnie, you talk. I'll lip sync.
Do we? Well, I have a small penis, and my wife doesn't love me, and Ohio State sucks.
Oh,
let's just go ahead and caption this.
Oh
boy.
So
my name's Ronnie.
what I was saying, listen. I always say we're all people, right? Well, I have a cold right now, and I muted it, and I forgot to unmute it, so I'm sorry, world. What I was saying, Ricky, was I wish that it didn't come to the fact that we'd have to go to the federal government to fix this, but it does need to be fixed because it's a massive problem, and if there are no guardrails, it's just going to keep getting more and more and more out of control. And so I am all for whatever means necessary figuring this out. I would like to make a suggestion to Nick Saban, though. we have to have some sort of rule in there about when and how you can retire jerseys.
I wonder why you would say that. Can we retire Shadur's jersey?
Dude, how great
Worst
would that
decision
be?
that's ever made. I have a suggestion for Nick Saban. All right, you've given a helpful suggestion for Nick Saban. I have one as well. We're living now in interesting times. I joke about this, but it's really true. We are living in a brief little window in human history where we're still smarter than AI, kinda.
Right.
And we laugh and we joke about it, right? Like I made a rap song. In fact, we should play this on the show, by the way.
Greatest rap song of all time.
We haven't done that yet. Yeah, I made a rap song about Ronnie using an app that you can enter your own lyrics, or you can tell the app the subject
matter,
and it will produce songs that are so good sounding that you would think that they were real songs if you didn't know. And so that's awesome. We live in the era now where you can ask Grok anything. I utilize AI every day of my life. I use it for this show. I use it for personal situations. It's like having a caddy. I was telling my girlfriend the other day, Grok is my caddy. If I'm in a situation and I don't know exactly what the social protocol is of how to handle it or whatever, I ask Grok, and it's like Grok hands me the 9-iron. It's very useful. So we're already reaping benefits of AI right now. But AI is going to continue to get better and better and better and better. And eventually it'll probably take over everything. But before that happens, here's my suggestion for Nick Saban. AI Keith Jackson. Let's fucking do this. He is the voice of college football. I want the option to have AI Keith Jackson calling any college football game that I choose. We need to prioritize this immediately. That needs to be job one. I would watch Keith Jackson just read the phone book, Ronnie T-shirts. And as you know, I don't think we've ever talked about it on this program, but you know, I had a phone conversation with Keith Jackson one time.
He called you while you were in your car. Amazing. Yeah, he called you while you were in your car.
Yeah. I was going to interview him for a baseball book that may see the light of day at some point, but I was like, I'm driving home. It's going to take me like a half an hour. Keith stayed on the phone with me. We were talking about Acapulco cliff diving from Wide World of Sports, and he was talking to me about his philosophy of calling college football games and why he liked to mention the little hometowns of the players. You want to talk about surreal. Imagine just taking your commute home from community college to your house and you're just chatting it up with Keith Jackson like that was in any way fucking normal.
Yeah, man, listen, I know you wrote this tweet to have fun, but it really actually makes a lot of sense. And could you imagine? I mean, we're going to get to the point where we're going to have all kinds of different options on our TV. What if you just wanted to click over, boom, Keith Jackson, do NFL with John Madden? I mean, it's endless. Dodgers games with Vince
Madden
Scully.
And Summerall, whenever you want them. Wouldn't it be fantastic?
Yeah.
Montana,
it would be better, Ron,
Rice.
than the home teams are having it in the NBA playoffs right now. Are you
This
following
is
this, Ron? The
unbelievable.
Cavaliers won 68 games. Oh, no, that was the Thunder. The Thunder won 68 games, lost in the first round, lost the first game. I'm so excited I can't speak. We're in the semifinals now in each conference. Nuggets take down the Thunder, a 68-win team. The Cavaliers won 64, number one seed in the East. Yep. They're down 0-2 to the Indiana Pacers now. We also had the Timberwolves lose game one of their series against the Warriors. And perhaps most notoriously of all, the Boston Celtics last night coughed up another 20-point lead at home against the New York Knicks. They are now in the hole, 0-2. Home teams in the conference semifinals now, 1-6.
Yeah. Thunder's it. Yep, the Thunder putting a beat down on the Nuggets last night by what, 43? Like that's the only one so far. So did you see this?
The Thunder responded to game one. Yes, I'm not worried about the Thunder. But the Celtics, I mean, we're coming back to Madison Square Garden. Knicks are up 2-0. I mean, look, it's starting to look like the Celtics may be just crapping the bed here in this series.
Yeah, if they don't win both of them in New York, then I don't see how they come back from that.
Paul Pierce isn't dancing, Ron. I don't know if you caught this or not, but after the Game 1 loss, Paul Pierce said that if the Celtics lost Game 2, he would walk to work. Let's take a listen.
How confident are you? Celtics next tonight.
If the Celtics lose Game 2 at home, I promise you, Joe, I'm walking here tomorrow. I'm walking here.
Why you gotta do that?
Wait a minute.
I'm walking here 15 miles.
If
I'm walking here
I don't know. Keith, this is your friend.
in my robe.
Get your friend.
In my
No
robe?
shoes on.
somebody save him.
Bare feet.
No.
If what?
If the Celtics lose tonight,
Oh my God.
Oh, don't do it, Paul.
I'm walking.
Paul.
Not tonight.
I'm
man.
telling you
Take
right
the
now.
serious. Take the serious.
No, I'm taking this
not
serious.
tonight. Not tonight. Don't do tonight.
No, we ain't
Barefoot.
that. No,
In a
no,
row.
ain't no way. In a row, barefoot.
So
In a
you getting up
row.
at 5 in the morning?
All
I'm gonna be up
15
at 3.
Right here, though, Joy. Yeah.
Right
At
here.
3.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm walking. Yeah. We gotta, you know what I'm saying? Gotta walk, homie.
Is he a man of his
I
word,
guarantee
Ron?
this one. Put the house
Is
on
he a
this
man of
game.
his word? That's the real question here.
I bet he's not.
You think he actually did?
No. You know, if you and I had a bet like that, we would do it because I drank an IPA, which is 1,000 times worse than walking to work in your robe with bare feet. So, but I bet Paul doesn't do it.
It's like 15 miles.
Oh wait, he's doing it.
But look at this.
Really walking out.
He did walk at least
Man, I
long
can't
enough to
believe it.
film
I got a
this.
long walk today.
Call me skeptical.
Yeah, I want to see the whole
Probably
15
walked
miles.
50 feet right there in his robe, of course. But he's no Jim Rooker, Ron. I don't know if you are aware of this or not. Yeah, is that
His route.
PP's route? Look, Jim Rooker, former major league pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, among other teams, became an announcer after his career. And here's one for you, Ron. June 8th, 1989, Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Philadelphia Phillies at the Vet in Philadelphia. Pirates go up 10-0, and Jim Rooker says, if we lose this one, I'll walk back to Pittsburgh. Guess what, Ron? They lost. But guess what? He actually did end up walking to Pittsburgh. He took his first steps from Philadelphia on October 5th, after the season was over, walked through the center field gate at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, his destination, at 12:52 p.m. on October the 17th. A walk of 327 miles. He and his friend who walked with him averaged 24 miles a day, and he raised a lot of money for charity.
That's
And
fantastic.
probably
I've
ended
never
up with
heard
a
that
lot of
story.
blisters.
Never heard that story.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
How great is that? In all
Yeah.
honesty, he probably wished that he had a. He probably wished that he had a seat with rich Corinthian leather. Ron, you remember the Ricardo Montalban
Of course.
commercials where he
Who
would talk
doesn't
about
remember
the
that?
luxury of rich Corinthian leather? What is that? What type of car? Is that a Chrysler Cordoba? What was that?
I believe.
car?
Yeah, I believe
No,
it is.
Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, yeah.
Fifth Avenue. In this
My mom
case,
had
yeah.
one.
And
My mom had
Montalban
one.
would
It
just-
was incredible.
So, Ricky,
How was that rich Corinthian leather, Tim? Was it
We didn't have the rich
was it as
Corinthian leather.
luxurious as we've been led to believe?
We didn't have the leather.
at any other point in your life, Ricky, have you ever heard of Corinthian leather? Like, I've never even heard of it in any other application.
No.
The only one
Well,
I've ever
that's
heard.
because the auto company just made it up
Yeah.
out of thin air.
Honestly,
it
it's
just
a
sounded
great
good.
marketing ploy, right?
Oh, yeah, it's great marketing. And then you put it in the capable hands of Ricardo, and he starts talking about the rich Corinthian leather. It just sounds like it would be amazing.
I have a question I have never got to ask before. What the
What
fuck,
would that
Ricky?
be, Ron?
What the fuck, Ricky?
Now, if only we had the graphic with my dumb head.
You just move your head like this a little
there
bit.
for this.
Move your head like that.
Yeah. Just be yourself, Ricky. It'll accomplish the same thing. All right, so here's one for you, Ron. This comes courtesy of my girlfriend. As you know, I went to Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And yes, go Hilltoppers. And here is one that was on a Bowling Green community page yesterday. And she sent it to me last night. We were talking after I got into town here. And I said, oh my God, I'm gonna put this on the show tomorrow. So a guy posts, this guy, Charlie Rich. This is a group called Spotted in Bowling Green. And unfortunately, my eyes are bad enough that I can't read that unless it's bigger. Yeah, it says, does anyone recognize this individual who dropped off at my house? And this is like a word salad, by the way. But what he's trying to say is, does anyone recognize the individual who dropped off at my house innocent baby rabbits that were still nursing and hadn't yet opened their eyes? And then he attaches his doorbell camera footage of the guy there holding a box of baby rabbits that he just dropped off on the guy's front porch. And so the guy's like, why the fuck did some guy come by and drop off baby rabbits on my front porch? And so people start to comment. So this is a story in 4 parts, Ron. So the next phase of this, Jerome Boyd comes along, and there's a whole lot of comments, obviously, that I left out, but Jerome Boyd comes along and says, yeah, that's me. And if you don't want them, I've got a couple more people on Facebook that's saying they would take them. A cat was killing them, and I saved them from the cat. I knocked before I left them. So, yes, that's me on your doorbell camera. And if you don't want them, I've got a couple of other people that'll take them. So how about that? And by the way, I knocked and you didn't answer. So then this other guy, Ben Ida or whatever, comes in and says, even when the person trying to do a good thing, they're being bashed, maybe God sent him to your house because he knew that you would take care of them. Don't always look at the bad side. And people are talking about this. Jerome Boyd comes back and says, I live down the street from you and will come back and get them. You used to raise rabbits, so I thought they would be in good hands with you. So now it's starting to make sense. This guy's a neighbor. He's aware that Charlie Rich is raising rabbits, but then Charlie Rich comes back and kind of protests this a little bit. He's being all cagey about it. He says, I don't know why we used to have 5 rabbits about 5 years ago. I guess they knew that we used to have some. And then the lady says he probably doesn't know. He probably just took his chances and left them for you. Then Jerome Boyd comes back in directly to Charlie Rich. And he says, y'all had a backyard full of damn rabbits. Now you're on here lying. I know that you were the rabbit house, motherfucker. Don't be trying to act like you didn't have a yard full of rabbits. Because I didn't just bring this box here completely randomly. I thought you were the fucking rabbit guy. So shout out to Jerome Boyd out there in Bowling Green, Kentucky, trying to do what he can as a concerned citizen to save rabbits and a confused Charlie Rich.
So I have a question for you. I have a question for you about this, Ricky. Is this like standard grammar and sentence structure in Kentucky? Because none of that was really good.
There were some problems there. I basically had to translate
to English
every post. Yeah, Charlie was struggling a little bit. He's got bigger problems than whether or not he raises rabbits. He might have been having a stroke. Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to OutKick.com where you can watch the full episode.